What's next? Thinking about funerals and wakes and coffins and memorials. And after you pass away, after you're no longer alive, some people get put in coffins and buried underground. They get embalmed and their bodies get preserved. I'm thinking to myself, why? Why do we need a preserved body kept underground? We know logic, at least the past couple hundred years, we knew for a fact that the body decomposes. Maybe back in prehistory, we thought if you buried the body that you'd come back into it, after you're reborn, after you reincarnate, or after, the opening of heaven and you'd re-inhabit your body. Fine, I'll give you that, but before Lincoln, no one preserved bodies, no one embalmed bodies, except for the ancient Egyptians. And that was just a small sect of people of the whole world. But the Christians didn't really have a good way of preserving their bodies, but in Christianity, at least, I know that for a fact, that you're actively encouraged to keep your body, not to have it cremated. This planet, because if we're constantly having our body just sitting there, are we attached to our body? Is there some kind of cable until our body is completely decomposed? Are we stuck here? And I know that, as long as you remember somebody, you're kind of an anchor for them. And part of our belief system is that we want to be remembered as long as possible. But my thought is that I don't want to be remembered as long as possible, because it'll get me stuck here. Because as long as someone's remembering you, fondly, fine. But sadly, if they're feeling sad about you, it draws you here to help console your loved ones. And they're sad about you. So it's kind of like an anchor attaching you to this planet. And then memorials, the great deed that they did. But are we remembering the great deed or the horrible death that they experienced? And if you remember the great deed, that's a positive thing. But if you're remembering the sad death that they had, that's another anchor to stick someone here. Now you're going to, well, how do you know that? Well, I have walked by memorials and found spirits just stuck there, and they don't want to leave there because that's all they know. They know that people come at least a couple times a year and remember them fondly. But for the most of the other times of the year, they're just sitting next to their memorial. Of course, time to them is irrelevant. So they're just waiting patiently, because they're like, just waiting. So they don't have a concept of time. So whenever someone comes and remembers them and takes care of them, and and reads their memorial, their plaque, they think to themselves, "Oh, look how important I am," and they're kind of like stuck at that spot. But they're stuck. That's kind of sad. And I've tried to move some of them along to the light, but one of the big rules that I live by is you can't force somebody to go to heaven that they don't want to. You have to ask them in a polite way and allow them the choice whether they want to go or stay. And a lot of these spirits, actually 90% of the spirits that I met at memorials all want to stay. That gives me the idea that all these memorials, all these fond memories about tragic events that happened. The idea is that they're a benefit to, remember their loved ones, remember the people who passed away, but you're remembering them in the wrong way. They should be remembered for the good things in life rather than the sad, terrible death that they experienced. Because if you remember someone's sad, terrible death, you're remembering it. They have no concept of time. They were living it. Or that's my belief system, and I welcome anyone else's. It's getting kind of dark, so it's kind of hard to see, so I should wrap this up. So if you see this video and think, hey, I have an idea, this person's crazy, make a comment. I like constructive criticism. I like compassionate debate. I'm willing to keep an open mind for all this stuff. Because believe you me, my job is in sciences. So I'm supposed to be an analytical, straightforward kind of person. But my life has always been involved with spirits and ghosts and having intuition about people. And so I live a kind of a bifurcated life. Part of me is spiritual, part of me is analytical. And I guess that's how I get through life. And it's, now that I accepted it, it's made things a lot easier. But what's your ideas? If you like these videos, subscribe. If you have anything to say, comment. We'll have a nice potential debate, maybe a criticism, and I'll listen to you best I can. And hopefully we can come to a amicable conversation. That's all I got. What's next?